Okay, so this is the first free training of 2020. Okay, this is going to be posted on my YouTube channel once it comes out. And basically, what I wanted to do is kind of give you guys a look into what PipsologyFx is. Again, as I always do, show you what it is we do in here, how we do it. This is the main channel where we give out our updates and educational points and all that good stuff. Remember, we're not a signal group. Don't insult me. When you see a testimonial out there, that person is not having their hand held in the way that many want it. You know, that whole fake learn and earn. That person is being educated to the point where they can take their own trades if they want and follow along with our trade ideas. That's what we do. So all this stuff that you see me scrolling is different videos. This one's 41 minutes. This was an update video and an educational video wrapped up into one. I posted it on Friday so people have something to watch over the weekend. I don't always do that, but I understand that, you know, sometimes people want have some extra time on the weekend, and it's a good time to throw something of some extra value out there. So that's pretty much it for what we do in here. Now let's talk about the last couple of weeks. Now, to end this week, I got Euro NZD up 150 pips just for this one entry, 130 pips on GJ, GCAT 100 pips, and gold no activity. Now, something more important that you need to understand about me is that I keep it very honest, to the point that, you know, I curse and I yell and all that stuff, but it's more of a passion thing. I have a passion for this game. This game of trading changed my life. And one thing that I know about this game of trading is that when you're new, people will do anything to sell you something. And the easiest thing for them to do is to be sweet and to be nice and to overpromise and underdeliver. That's what happens. So when I started years ago coaching people, and about, let me see, I started coaching people maybe 4 years ago, and this group started about 2 years ago. I made a promise to myself that I will always keep it real, right? No matter what's going on. So this week, when the week started, it was a little slow, right? So far this week, 30 pips up, 40 pips up, right? It was a little slow. And then I sent out a bunch of messages, right, explaining things like, so even with these numbers that you see above, which aren't huge numbers, for me, they're actually small numbers. 30, 40 pip trades is not what I aim for. It is what it is. If it happens, you know, 10% of 30 pips isn't gonna, not really. But one loss is gonna cancel out maybe one of those trades, right? Because the losses are rare. 100 pips, I do not care, because the most important thing after a loss or after a situation like GCAD where I got away, I didn't lose, but I got away with it, right? I got away with, because I was being safe with that market shooting in one direction and I was on the wrong side of it. GJ never really did anything. My personal belief is when you lose, play the safer play. In this group, we purposely track the market. There'll be days where when gold was running on a tree of the market is everything when it comes to my analysis. I don't know about anybody else, but my analysis, everything is based on the left side of that screen. All right, so basically there's a bunch of points being covered, and if I feel there's something to say and something to remind people on, because this game it's a lot of little concepts and mindset related things. The technical part, that's one piece of it. That's a huge piece of it. But the other more ignored piece of it is the psychology, the psychological part. Now, the funny thing about that is you can only understand the psychology of being profitable if you're profitable. That's why most people only teach the technical side of things. They teach the trend line. They teach what is a pip. They teach what is a Fibonacci. They teach you the concepts that you could find anywhere and ignore the hardest part of this, which is the application of the technicals and then the mental aspect as you're trying to apply your trading plan towards those charts. So we make it a point to be very clear about our intentions in the market, how and why we're applying it, right? So for example, you could see, let's go deeper into this week. Where people are always telling themselves, "Oh, I'll be happy if I make $500 a day. I'll be happy if I make 1,000 a week.
I'll be happy if I make 1,000 a day. Whatever number you have in your head, it will be eclipsed by an actual skill set, actual understanding, like actual profitability, like the actual skill of trading. You will crush whatever kind of profit gains that you have in your mind that you'd be air quotes happy with.
All right. So basically, I love doing that, man. I love setting people on the right track when it comes to not just understanding how to draw a trend line, how to draw Fibonacci, how to find key price, how to use those tools, how to enter the market. Those things I love to teach, but nothing gets me going more than the mental approach, because it's the hardest thing for people to figure out, because you're actually fighting your humanity when you're trading. Everybody wants to be a gambler. Nobody wants to be a trader. Trading requires patience. It requires trusting your skill, trusting what you think you know and what you actually have proven to know. You have to trust that. It has to become almost boring and so habit-filled, so routine that it's just second nature. It's just second nature. There's no other better way to explain it. So for many people out there, they can't teach you because you can't teach what you don't fucking know. You can't teach what you can't do, right? You could maybe fake it, but at the end of the day, you're going to be exposed. It's only going to be so long before the whole thing unravels and people are going to figure out that what you're teaching does not work. And I've been around for a long time now. What I teach fucking works. And if you go to the timeline on my Instagram, you'll see it. What I teach works. And if you follow me on Instagram at Gustavo Zaps, and you check that out on stories, you'll see it works. And if you're in the group, you'll see it works, because the results are in the setups. The results are in the setups. The results are in the reactions of what people say. So for example, even just simple conversation, voice memos to help somebody understand this from a deeper perspective than what is Forex and what is a pip, right? Looking forward to great audio and mindset. Looking forward to becoming as confident to know and stick to bias. I don't know why, but when I see a large amount of voice messages from Gustavo, I get a little excited to get some more lessons. Same and always enjoying Jonathan. That's the other thing. There is another admin in this group, Jonathan, and he knows what he's doing, and it's a different perspective. Same foundation, right? Same price action, naked traders, intelligent approach to trading, a deep understanding for the game of Forex, but different person, right? More methodical, less what you hear from me. There's less of that. He's calmer, right? So you get two perspectives from two different types of personalities, but the trading style is very similar, right? Some of the things are fit to personality, but the foundation of the style is the same, right? Because there are certain things in trading that are unflexible. You can't mess around with it. There are certain things in trading that you should definitely stick to, and there are certain things that you should definitely be flexing with a little bit to fit your personality. So that's the stuff that we're trying to convey to people out there. So all good. And last but not least, good old Marlon letting me know that he enjoyed the content that I provided. So let's talk about some of these setups, because that's why you're here. You're not just here for me to show you how fantastic PipsologyFx is and how great I am, but you are actually here to find out how we got some of these trades. So let's talk about it. When I started this week, like I said before, the week was a little slow. And I always like to tell people, hey, look, winning is winning, 20 pips, 30 pips, 40 pips. It's all about your percentage gains. But I did remind them the week's not over. Let's calm down. Whatever happens, happens, but the week is not over. And then all of a sudden, yesterday, finally, GJ triggered 90 pips. Boom, we're in there. And GCAD missed me by 1 or 2 pips and missed my pending order. So it missed my automated order, which sucks, but it is what it is. Euro NZD was up 80 pips. What have I been? All right, so you'll notice that Euro NZD had broken the trend lines and all that good stuff, and we were up in profit, but I told him to hold it. Gold I had 40 pips up, and then GJ, go back to that.
Now,
look
GJ
at it, right?
Profit. GJ did exactly.
Look at it. We're up about 80 to 90 pips. The target was that this trend line area. That was the target for real strong partialing out. And I told him, look, I'm remaining bearish. I've been bearish for 3 weeks now. So I'm remaining bearish, right? This area has been a strong place to sell from. Now remember this. This is important. You're going to need to remember this because the market's going to come all the way back and pretty much give us a rinse and repeat entry. Then we look at GCAD.
It's me. It is what it is. I have a chance of doing anything right now.
All right, with GCAD, you can see me here
Something area doesn't do that, then I can't
doing that, right? I show them where I want the market to retrace to for me to be able to get in for a continuation entry. Because what I'm not going to do is chase the price. Market's going to have to come up for me to sell it, because what's one of the most cliche, well-known rules of any investing? You buy low and you sell high. Right now the market is low. It is in momentum, so I need that market to come up. Whether it comes up or not is not your concern, is not my concern. The concern is, are you prepared for that when that market does come up? And do you know from where you want to do that? I'm not making this shit up. This was posted yesterday, right? We could see it here. It was posted yesterday, 10:41 a.m., January the 23rd. Now we got to fast forward to a new day, January the 24th. And now Euro NZD, it was up 80 pips, now it's up 150. GBP/JPY, it was up 90 pips, and then it was up 0. That's why we always pay ourselves, because you never know. And then now we're up 130. So we got a gift from the market, a rinse and repeat. And then finally GCAD, the market came up to the area we wanted, and it's up 100 pips. Now let's go to the charts, because I know that's why you're here. All right, let's begin with Euro NZD. Now, you can see that I'm entered there with, obviously my trade is protected, right? Because, come on, man. If you're not dragging your stop loss at the profit margin, what the hell are you doing? What are you doing? And a little tip here, if ever you get gapped over, you could actually lose that money. So with some brokers, you could argue them down to fix their issue because their stop loss didn't trigger. But if there's no stop loss there, you're fucked from the start. There's nothing you could say, and you lose the money. So always protect your order. That's the smartest thing you can do. Now let's look at Euro NZD. For those of you who follow these YouTube videos and follow me on Instagram, listen, if you don't follow me on Instagram, you're missing free knowledge. I give out free knowledge all the time. If I put out a testimonial with a student making money, I will always purposely put something educational with it. Because if you're going to hear me brag and market to you, I am also going to provide you education. I'm not an asshole. I'm going to make sure that I give you, if I'm going to give you A, I'm also going to give you B. So, and also sometimes there's just things that I want to talk about in the market. I find the market interesting. I find people interesting in the way they approach the market. Sometimes the stuff doesn't make any sense and they don't even know it. So I enjoy supporting those that provide me support on social media. So add me on Instagram, man. Add me on Instagram. Add my notifications at Gustavo Zaps. And that's that, man. I promise you, you will not be disappointed. And also, for those of you who keep asking me about PipsologyFx or one-on-one coaching, don't you want to know what my style is, what my consistency looks like? Don't you want to know stuff like that? How, like if students are actually making money, if group members are making money, like tomorrow I'll be posting something about someone who made some money off that GJ sell. Like I posted something 2 weeks ago about somebody in a hospital making money because he got in a horrendous accident and he was still able to catch some pips in the hospital. You know, the real freedom. Everybody wants to talk about beaches, parties, and hoes and bottles, but that's not why I'm here. I got into this game because I wanted time freedom, the ability to do what I needed to do in situations where maybe I couldn't do them, right? Because when you have to go to a job, you got to be there. But with trading, all I need is the internet, my phone, the computer, the laptop, something to be able to connect to these charts, to be able to work my setups. That's why I love trading. It's real freedom in my mind. Anyways, if you have the skill, that is. And if you're consistent. And if you put the work in. And if you put the time in. Anyways, when we look at these charts, all right, for Euro NZD, which is what we're on right now, we're going to hit that daily real quick. I've been working this for a while. Even on this channel, there's videos of me selling Euro NZD. And here's the funny part. I haven't stopped selling. Even though you see bullish moves, we've discussed this in previous videos, I am a very one-sided biased type of trader. I take the mindset of a swing trader and I use that in intraday trading style. It's a harder thing to do, but I figured out how to make it work over the years. And this is what I teach, and obviously it works because it provides the flexibility of intraday trading with the better setups of swing trading. okay? Because swing traders do get better setups. They get better momentum-filled setups. They get safer setups that actually have the potential of breaking stronger supports and resistances. They get better setups for trend line breaks. It's just cleaner. But there's a lot of waiting, which I wasn't willing to do. And also, I didn't learn that way. I learned from an intraday perspective. So I was able to kind of gel everything together and make it make sense for me, and obviously make sense for many others. But when we look at Euro NZD, we got to look at that daily first to see what's up. We could see with Euro NZD the progression of things. Now, I've been selling, and what's most important is how we got this particular entry. Now, let's look at it on the daily perspective to see what it is kept me bearish, okay, even after it did this. Now, we look at it a couple of ways. Let's look at it from the Fibonacci perspective. If I look at this one leg of the market and I break it down that way, bang, we could see where that 61.8 and 70% levels are being respected on those daily closes. The daily close. Remember that a candle does not matter unless that candle has fully closed itself. If the candle isn't closed, it's not a fact on that screen yet. So when we look at the way that the market closed here and here, we already know that there's a lot of bearish strength. Also, when we take this fib from high to low, we also know that where this market is resisting is the 50 level on a much wider fib of this one leg of the market. So already that area is very important. Here's some other things. I'm already bearish, so I'm already looking at things from the bearish perspective. Here's another thing. Here, right here, where the market blew past that point and turned this support into resistance. Boom. Now, even when the market went over on it and came back and closed away from it, the return is what we were looking for. Now we need a lower frame, and we need to see where the entry opportunities were. Let's look at it. Look at all these 4-hour candles. Look at this. Let's go to the hour chart. Remember how I told you at the beginning of the week how I was saying that it was a little slow? This is why. Because we saw that the market was creating ascending situations, bullish structure. And we could see it here. 40 pips, we took that trade. 50 pips, we took that trade. 30 pips, we took that trade. And then finally, bang, 170 pips. It took a long time. This is not 1 day or 2 days. This is multiple days. That's 16 4-hour candles. You do that math. I'm not interested. So from there, once that happens, it's it, man. The retracement leg, which is this one. The retracement leg, which is this one. The structure has been completely broken. You're going to get that momentum and that extra oomph. All you got to do is wait it out. That's all you got to do. Now, even if you're somebody who likes an H1 or an M15, we could see it here. We could see it here. The market, we could see the low here, right? We could see how the market had a floor, right? Or a support, which is the more technical term people like to use, or a low. I don't give a shit what word you use. We could see where the market is creating that floor. And we could see when the market had enough momentum and oomph to break through that. And now we could see resistance creation for continuation. That is Forex 101. And that is what people charge you for. That is not enough, right? The person has to be able to explain to you why that's important, right? Okay, floors become ceilings, high becomes low, breakouts, and this. But what does it look like? And how do we use it in the moment? That's why I love the way that we provide our setups with PipsologyFx, because you're going to see the market in development, right? Before. We tell you what we want to do before. No one in that group, out of the hundreds of people in there, is going to tell you that I was doing anything other than selling from this point. You know what? Let's actually go. Let's go check this out. Let's do that. Okay? So let's do that. Hold on.
Here's the other thing.
All right. So I sent out a voice memo to the group. I like to do an Asian session voice memo just to remind everybody, we're still on track and all that stuff. But let's check it out.
With Euro NGD, 1. 2, I've set an alert.
All right, listen to this.
By 30%. So right now I only have 70% of what I normally risk. That's 1. 2, I've set an alert at the break of the current micro high. Anything above that point, and I am cutting that trade, which would give me a negative 6 or 7 pips, I'm not playing games with Euro NZD in this particular point. This is a lower frame play, so it requires some management. The biggest concern here, not a concern, the biggest piece to this thought process is after a squeeze is a breakout, right? So we are currently squeezed up, and I want to participate because the risk is worth the reward. What I'm not going to do is play around with holding a drawdown of 30 to 35 pips because it's almost certain to get stopped out. So it's pointless. So for me, taking the trade from here makes total sense. So real quick, we'll start with GJ. Obviously, that's right above.
All right. So you heard that, okay? What I'm saying there is the market was here when I sent out that message. It had not happened yet, obviously. And I told them, look, the risk is worth the reward. That means that I know this century is going to be juicy. I know this thing's going to give out them pips. I know that's going to happen if it goes our way. So what's the risk part? The risk is this, right? This is my high right there. This is my zone, right? This is where the market is creating clear highs. That's my target. I don't give a shit about anything else here. That's what matters. The other thing that I said was if it breaks over and creates, right? I just said that. If the market does not create a candle, it is not a fact. So I never react in the middle of any candle movement. Whether I'm looking at the H1 or the H4, which is the one that I really am talking about. H1 is like more of a lower frame. It's kind of flimsy in the strength of information. I like H4 and up. But if I'm looking at an H1, what I really don't want is H1 creation above my high, because that is the beginning of usual support to then just boom to the upside. So when I look at this trade, the loss factor to it when this thing was like this was basically 6, 7, 8 pips. Anything above that with candle creation, and I'm out of there. So the risk to this trade wasn't my normal 30 to 40 pip stop loss. The risk to this trade was a 30 to 40 pip strong stop loss, meaning my stop loss was somewhere up here, but the mental stop loss, me knowing full well when I'm going to cut it, was 6 to 9 pips tops because I was so sharp on this entry. That's it. So you're going to tell me that those 6, 9, 10, 15, even if it goes to 30 pips and hits me out, you're going to tell me it's not worth what happened? Boom. Like, come on. See, there's the issue. So many people, when they think of trading, they're waiting for the perfect moment. There is no perfect moment. There's only high probability setups. There's only really good broken down technical analysis followed by the mental aspect of how you react to that technical analysis. How are you reacting to the information that's on your screen? Right? How are you reacting to your plan and your setup? Are you pissing your pants when the market gets to where you want? Are you looking for a candle to go in your direction for you to be able to enter? Because that's stupid, right? That would be you wanting the market. Let's say you bought a house. Okay, let's use an easy example. You buy a house, okay, and you've had this house for a couple of years. Now you're looking to sell it. Are you going to sell your house when your house has dropped in price to lose money and to give the buyer a better price and you lose out? Or are you going to sell your house when you know it's at the highest possible price for most recent history and you know that at this moment is going to be the best price? This is the cap price. This is the price. And if you wait any longer, you're probably going to lose some of the profits that you can make by selling your house at the most accurate price of current market, right? You're going to always wait for the best price when you're selling. So why in Forex are you looking for this market to give you a little dip down for you to be able to finally sell it? Is it because you're looking for something to make you feel warm and cuddly inside? Is it because you're looking for something to give you permission? Or is it because you're not trusting what's obviously in front of you? If I'm going to sell, I'm going to purposely look for the market to come up to the best area of critical seller's point, which is here. How much resistance do you need created for you to sell the thing? Right? And we've already discussed how this broke support, meaning this thing is seller influenced all the way. Bang, bang, bang. So here's one more for you. We take a little Fibonacci. We draw from high to low. That 50, right? I think we spoke about that before. That 50 here. If we drag this way and drag it this way, that 50 here, right? We're near that 50 level. Guys, Please pay attention to this right now. Pay attention to this. No matter how you draw it up, this thing was bearish. No matter how you draw it up, this thing was bearish. Unless you're on that M15. If you're on that M15, on that lower frame only, I don't care if you use a lower frame, you got to put it together with the higher frame. But side note, people charge you for this information right now. I'm telling you right now. There's somebody out there that's teaching top-down analysis, and that's the whole training, which is ridiculous to me. Everybody does this. Top-down analysis is something that everybody knows. How you use it is what matters, right? That's what you pay me for. How do you use it? All right, so let's look at it. Let's look at it. Okay, we're on the M15, right? Okay, it's creating support. I see it. I'm buying. Everything is great. Everything is awesome. Oh my God. And then boop, you're out of there, right? Everything is awesome. Let's say you're on the M15. You bought, right? 59 pips. You're like, damn, I'm killing it right now. Let's look at it here, right? You buy from here. You see support. Support, right? You see support. You're like, all right, this is going to be my entry point. You bought. Cool. You're on the M15. You're currently up 60 pips. You're like, man, this thing is booming. This thing is booming. Holy crap. Here comes my breakout. Oh my God, it's going to break out. And then pop. You're out of there, baby. Get the fuck out of here. Take your money and get out of here. Or if you don't have a stop loss, blown account. For many of you, blown account because you're not paying attention. Because if I take this to an H4, I can clearly see where this market is not trying to break that point. It doesn't want it. It's not letting it. It's not happening. I can also see, because of everything else that I drew up on the higher frame, that we are technically bearish. So your momentum right now is bearish, right? It's bearish. On the M15, it's looking kind of bullish. But here, it's bearish. That's why you got to be on that higher frame. You got to see the market for what it really is. When you're on that M15 or that H1 only, you're not using all your weapons. Take your stop loss and take whatever's left in your account and go to a different chart. Get out of here, right? You're doing yourself a disservice if you are not multi-frame analysis heavy. I am heavy on running through these charts, multi-frame analysis. Now, where do I stop? I stop on the H1. The H1 is cool. You know, it provides me enough time in between sessions to kind of see how the H1 is created. I like an H4 chart above anything else. That's why most of the time when you see stuff from me, I'm on the H4 a lot. And then the daily, that's my best friend because daily close really does guide and guides well. So that's Euro NZD, right? That's Euro NZD in a nutshell. And it was pretty clean. I'm still running an old entry from up top, right? I really wanted it to get +1 when the market came all the way back because this thing has been skimmed down to all hell. There's really nothing left running there. But the market didn't reach. So notice, no entry, right? These markups have been the same for weeks now, since Christmas. They're the same for a reason. I know where I want to work from. Now, does that mean we didn't take other entries somewhere lower for sell? Yeah, we did. But for the bigger moves, I know where I want to work from. I know where I want that market to be. And this is extremely key. So that's it for Euro NZD. We move on to GJ. GJ. Now, you saw in the video, in the earlier part of the video, that we were bearish, okay? And yesterday, we were up in profit. And basically, I said, look, it doesn't break that trend line. That's a spot that's going to offer us issues. And the market just stayed and stayed and stayed to the 4-hour chart. We go to the H1, we could see how long it was here. Okay, we could see it right here. All right, about 4 hours. And then it started working its way up. Then you got that little bit of support there. And the market's not looking good for the sellers that had anything from the top. So, as always, we have rules. Partial down, protected, direct stop loss, something. If you're up 90 to 100 pips, if you don't make something on that just because it didn't hit the next target, I don't know, it just doesn't make sense to me. I always pay myself. I have my rules. I have my way of paying myself. When I'm up in profit, there is never a trade that's up 30 or 40 pips that I haven't paid myself something. It just doesn't make sense. And especially if the thing is up 100 pips, remember, I use a 30 to 40 pip SL. So if I use a 30 to 40 pip SL and this thing is up 90 to 100 pips, I'm in that 3 to 1 range. Are you fucking kidding me? I'm going to pay myself. That means that I risked 30 pips, but I made 90. That is, hello, that's business right there. That's business 101. You got to pay yourself. You got to pay yourself. Too many people are caught up on targets. Sometimes the targets are like 15 pips away and they still haven't paid themselves. That's insanity. Anyways, the market, we've worked this spot, this price more than once, right? Here, 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 which was yesterday, and then on return, bang. The return one is the good one. The return one is the best one because you can see how the market closed that candle, right? This is a 4-hour candle, 100 pips, huge wick, bearish close, under structure, right? We could see it right there, right? See that old support? Boop, boop, right there. So all that right there is telling you is continuation, continuation. So hold that. Now we're sitting pretty. And it was really that simple. I mean, it was really that simple. Again, another chart. I've been selling and selling and selling. All these buys, I've had to ignore them. Now, in the middle of this happening, obviously, as I'm working the chart and it's creating new highs or I'm seeing something else to take another sell, I'll do that. But I will not switch to a buy. Not my style. Not my style. So for most people, when they look at it, they're like, yeah, what about these opportunities? I've said this in other videos and I've said it on Instagram. The opportunities are there. The problem is there's too much to do, right? I work multiple charts. So working multiple charts means that I have to stay focused and remember what we're doing on those charts. Also, I got to stay organized in my mind and on paper. When I am buying and selling, buying and selling, buying and selling, something is going to get off track. For me, after years of doing this, the best thing that's ever worked for me is a one-sided bias or looking for daily and weekly closes to make me switch the bias, market creation. So it takes me a while to switch it up. That's it. All right. This free time. Here's something people don't understand. As this market's moving up, I could be on another chart, right? Euro NZD, gold, Euro AUD, GBP CAD. We give out so many charts in that group. It's all about the setup. So if I want to be bearish, I'm going to remain bearish, right? And if the market ends up giving me opportunities like this clean high, which we definitely took right here, right? Right there. Right there, something like that, I'm gonna take that sell. But I also know that if it starts creating higher lows like that, we're probably gonna get back to the real area that matters, which is that high. That's the one that really freaking mattered. So for me, this was clean, this was easy, and I just gave you a little extra sauce in there for you to be able to take your trading another level. And that's that. Finally, GCAD. All right, GCAD. GCAD missed my pending. This was my right, man. I needed that pending to trigger. I needed that pending to trigger. The pending did not trigger. It missed me by 2 pips. And then the market dropped. So what do we know about trading? Well, we know that in this market, we will always and forever have retracements. If something goes down, it will more than likely go back up. If something goes up, it will more than likely come back down. It's a high probability, high frequency thing that happens in this market. It's frequent. It happens all the time. Okay? And basically, I would rather bet on the things that happen consistently than the things that happen in perfect environments. And what that means is, in order for the market to trend, you need a perfect environment. You need a certain amount of tests. You need a certain amount of breakout. You need a certain amount of liquidity. You also need the oomph of news. You need, I believe you do, you need things happening. Most of the time, the market is in its regular cycles, right? So I like to, and I've said this in other videos, bet on the consolidation and retracement of the market. That is, I am always treating the market like it's consolidated until it's not, okay? So when I look at the way that GCAD was, there's nothing I can do when this market is already 90 pips up. But if, as you saw in the earlier part of the video, I looked at the structure of it. I saw something very clean. The fact that it's already created lower highs, yes, on an H1, but it's the first little tip off, right? So that's a reminder. Pop, right there. Lets me know what's going on. Here's something else. I could see a clear low that was broken right there. Pop. That's something else that's going on. The retracement back to that structure, I'm taking that shot. I'm taking that shot because at the end of the day, the cut for this is 30 pips, and I already know that this thing's not going to survive. All right, so if it stops me out at 30 pips, it is what it is. But I wanted that trade because it made sense. I wanted that trade because it immediately started creating those lower highs. Immediately. As soon as it got up there, it immediately started creating those lower highs. Also, we take an H4, and we could see how bearish this thing became. It pretty much automatically turned bearish, right? As soon as it got to the high, bearish. Here's something else. we're already bearish. I'm already bearish. I know that the momentum is bearish right now. I know that this thing still has bearish momentum regardless of what we see here. I also know that, yes, this thing was very bullish at one point, but it's officially re-interacted with a higher frame, 38.2 Fibonacci. I already know that this thing has already started to create a first bearish leg. I already know that this thing has to respect that structure or this trade is dead anyway. So I'm going to take the shot. I'm going to take the shot. And again, that is not an easy trade. This is definitely, out of all the trades that you've seen, this is the hardest one. This is the hardest one because it requires intuition, experience. That's what we do in there, right? We give you the perspective of someone, of two people who are actually doing this full time, who are actually have been doing this. And for me, someone who's not only done it himself, but also taught other people to do it. So this trade right here is more of an advanced understanding. You need a quicker trigger. You need a pending order. You need to know that that's it. I'm getting in there. There's really no thinking there, which is really supposed to be the case for all your trades. When the market does what it is you wanted it to do, the thinking stops. You enter. Right? Too many people are out there looking for candle confirmation in their direction, which is why they're always in drawdown. If you're new to this game, you may not know what the hell I'm talking about. But if you've been trading for some time, struggling to find profitability, you know right now, as I'm saying this to you, you're probably maybe smiling or nodding your head or you're agreeing with me that when you enter the market and you're scared to enter, you will always find yourself in drawdown. Right? You will find yourself a high percentage of the time in drawdown. The reason is you are allowing that market to go in your direction before you enter. You are always susceptible to retracement and every single trade you take. And here's something else that I could probably tell you about your trading. When you enter that market, right, and when you win big, it is either going to be on news-filled days where that market is in full momentum, or you're taking a small piece of huge movements, right? Which honestly is more luck than skill. When you see the market moving super strong, let's say something like this, and you took a buy, any asshole out there can win on something like that. They got lucky that the size of that candle and the speed of that candle just carried them to grace, right? The skill is this, bang, bang, right? Market's coming down, you trust the retracement, bang. The skill is Euro NZD. The market is in bullish movement, it's messing around, bang, right? Trusting that. That's the skill, right? The skill isn't I sold, I see that Euro NZD is all that bearish, so I sold down here and took the last little 5 pips, 10 pips of it. That's not skill. That's like you took a shot, you see it's in momentum, and you take a little teeny weeny piece of that trade. And that's that, man. And that's that. That's GJ, GCAD, Euro NZD. All bearish, right? There's no correlation there for that, but all bearish. I took only sells, sticking to bias, following structure. I gave you a little bit of fib work in here. I can't give you everything. We can't. Come on, man. You want me to teach you everything for free? Come on. And honestly, drawing a Fibonacci is not the whole game. Drawing a Fibonacci is not the whole game. You got to know how to draw them. You got to know when to draw them. There's little tricks on how to use them a little better. What I give you on this channel is, and I give you on Instagram, is things people charge for. I do it on purpose because fuck them, right? If you're charging people for 101 basics, things you can find on free websites, which I've given you as well. If you're charging people for that, it's like, what good are you really trying to do? No wonder you can't get results out of people. You only know how to do basics. Anybody could do that. You need a strong foundation in this game of trading. You need to know your basics in and out, right? But the application of it and the experience, there is no shortcut to that. You need to be taught by someone who's done it. Profitability, you need to be taught by someone who's profitable. Teaching people, you need to be taught by somebody who's taught other people to get this done consistently, right? I'm not talking about a lucky day. I'm not talking about a couple of shitty quality entries where they take 5 or 10 pips and they up the lot size so the numbers look good, but anybody with a discerning eye can see that these trades are garbage, right? I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about someone who's actually gotten results out of many people, and those results and those posts and those testimonials, you could see those names pop up over and over and over again. That's what you're looking for. I mean, if you're looking for somebody like that, it may be the person who's showing you something you've never seen before at this very moment. All right, so that's it, guys. I wanted to provide you guys some knowledge and some value. And for those of you out there who are interested in PipsologyFx, right now, January the 23rd, We got some open $50 a month links. You do have to pay an entry fee of $200, but that's better than the current price of $200 to start and then $100 a month. It's first come, first serve. If you were smart enough to actually watch this whole video, come get your discount. Find me on Instagram, add me on Instagram, and then DM me and let me know that you're interested in joining PipsologyFx because you like what you see. Here's something else for the one-on-one coaching. If you're somebody who reaches out to me for one-on-one coaching, be ready to do some work. I don't take that lightly. If you become a student of mine, you are not allowed to be lazy. You are not allowed to quit. You are not allowed to be a little bitch when it comes to this game. You got to take it seriously because my track record holds and you will not be the person to ruin it. So do me that favor. Make sure that you want to be a one-on-one student with one-on-one coaching before you ask me about it. And if you want to get into the group, make sure that you let me know because it is first come, first serve. Adding me alone is not going to help you. I'm not going to DM you. I don't DM anyone. I don't go in people's inboxes like a thirsty salesman. Hey, buy my stuff. Buy my stuff. I don't do that. You DM me. You let me know this is what you want. I will provide you any information you're looking for, and we get it done. All right, so all you got to do is add me at Gustavo Zaps. All right. GUSTAVOZAPZ, GUSTAVOZAPZ. If you need more information, obviously this link is going to take you back to my YouTube. These hashtags here are going to hold some of that history from over the years. Have a blast. I don't care. Go look at them. The highlights every month when the month closes, I put out some highlights. It only lets me do about 100 a month, so it is what it is. Add me on stories. Do whatever it is you need to do, man. You can see all these testimonials, all these different things. I don't care what you do. Do your due diligence. Go. Dissect and dive deep into this stuff. Do what you need to do. What I'm looking for is people who actually want to learn this. I grow my business around the skill of trading. No hype, no bullshit. I don't need any of that other stuff. All I want is people who want to trade and want real education and real value and real application and the concepts, not just the concepts. And that's that for me. As always, happy trading.